Hello and welcome to another Just Bring It podcast. Welcome back. We are back on our 16 karat gold week, and today we have a guest that was a part of the 16 karat gold weekend in the last year and will be part of the weekend this year again. He is a good friend to WXW's Jacob Crane because of his most important special ability, and like you perhaps already know, he is the master of the body slam. Here is our special guest for today, Mr. Psycho Mike.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm totally fine. And you? How are you feeling today?
Just extremely awkward. Uh,
What
but
happened?
yeah, I'll get over the jitters. Don't worry. Yeah.
uh, so we have some technical issues. Some webcams not working. That's no problem. But what like you hear someone with a really special voice, so you don't need a camera and you can focus on his voice to have the best out of this podcast.
Yeah, just if everyone could just close their eyes and visualize, get in the moment, and really listen to the sound of my voice.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Perhaps we have some special Psycho Mike ASMR inside this podcast. First, we need to address something that's really in the minds of our viewers and listeners. What's your special love for the body slam?
uh oh boy. I don't even it started off as a I guess I don't want to say a joke because I was being serious
Hmm.
when I said it, but I always thought it was a bit silly when so when you like so logically when you hit your finishing move,
Hmm.
you win the match. That's the idea.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I never understood why when people are breaking into wrestling they would pick a move as their finish as their finisher that was hard to do and that was only possible to do later in the match. So I would say like why not just pick a really easy move like a snapmare or a body slam and you can hit it right away
Ah, okay.
and win the match, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
everybody, yeah, it's I mean, when you play all the video games, that's the logic of it, right? There's these
totally. Totally.
the games let you hit the body slam at the very beginning of the match, so it's just make that your finishing move,
And,
and and it's a good strategy.
and
And
like you
so
hit the body,
that was yeah,
yeah,
that was my mindset of
and
it.
like you hit the body slam, it could be a really good finishing move.
Right. And so that's kind of where that started. And I just thought once as a bit that it would be fun to do and to see if I could get it over. Um, and then it just kind of took off from there. And then I just got more obnoxious with it, a bit more, I guess. Yeah, I started embellishing it a bit more.
Hmm.
And then the joke was that you know in terms of pro wrestling psychology, everybody's trying to fool the audience, play off their expectations and everything. And I thought, well, why not just ask them if they want to see a move and then do the move, right? Cut all the theatrics out of it.
Yeah.
And then so I did that, and it worked. And I was like, man, I've been working really hard for 15 years to be fancy and uh like I'm overcomplicating things,
Mm.
and this is all I had to do since
Uh,
the beginning.
but
So
it's not just the body slam, it's just your kind of acting while preparing for the body slam. That's such a special thing that I don't know anyone else who is protecting for such a, like you say, basic move in such a great way to get into the audience and into the move. That's a
yeah,
really, really
it's a lot.
cool way.
It's actually it's funny because like I'll do it and people think it's like an easy day at the office or something, and it's like, well, if it was so easy, then go out and do it.
Body slam is not that
Yeah, do it.
easy move
Yeah,
that
go
you
do
think.
it. Yeah, it's just yeah, go do it. Try pick another move, like
Yeah.
you're like a snapmare or a headlock takeover. I don't know. It's But the funny thing is, like the irony of it is that um, body like the body slam is legitimately one of the moves that hurts the most when you do it.
Yeah, yeah, if you think about
Nobody
it.
likes taking it. So it's funny. It's always been funny where the like this seemingly trivial basic move
Mm.
um, is the one that everyone pretends hurts the least when it hurts the most.
It's something
So
like running the ropes. That's really hard for
yeah,
just for beginners as well, I guess.
yeah, that would be fun if somebody could. Their Irish whip is the finish where they can Irish whip somebody so hard that when they hit the rope, they hit it with such force that they just collapse.
You have to put the Irish rope into the corner like Bret Hart took it in the past. So there
Yeah,
could be a finisher.
yeah. Maybe I'll do that for Carrot this year.
Oh,
Who wants to see an Irish whip?
I would look forward to that. That would be great. So we before we look back and forward to your time with WXW, let's talk about yourself first. You have to explain to me who is Psycho Mike.
So Psycho Mike, I originally so I don't know. There's a cool answer and then there's I guess the real answer. I'll do the real answer first.
Yes, let me hear
Um,
both of them.
where the name came from.
Hmm.
And so when I first started, I always kind of had it in my head. I guess I was indoctrinated in a way that since I had the like blue chip look, like the prototypical body or prototypical pro wrestling look,
Hmm.
that I had to fit like a certain archetype or something like that. And so I was always trying to be, I guess tough and still trying to find like what my personality was and
Hmm.
I guess what people might call it gimmick. I never really liked the term gimmick, but your personality, your
Yeah.
act, and it was never sincere because like I wasn't being myself.
Hmm.
Um, but I always thought of myself as I don't know, like I'm talking to you right now, and like I can't imagine like this voice being in a pro wrestling ring or anything like that. So that's how I always looked at myself.
Hmm.
And but if you there's certain parts of my personality that come very natural to me. So I show a lot of facial expressions, particularly around my eyes. I move my arms around a lot, and like so. Really, Psycho Mike is not that idea of you take yourself and crank it up to 11.
Hmm.
It's kind of like that, but it's more so. There's certain things about me that I crank up to 11.
Hmm.
So it's not necessarily me, but like I'm a naturally stubborn person, so I know what it's like to be stubborn. So I crank that stubbornness up to 11. I know what it's like to be curious,
Ah,
right?
okay.
Because I'm
Hmm.
a curious person, so I crank that up to 11.
Hmm.
Um, but that never really clicked with me early on, and so I was exploring all of these different looks, right? Because I'm thinking, all right, if I just wear the right tights or like the right makeup or something, um, I'll make it. I'll figure it out. And it was like I think it was in probably like 2009 around that time. I was trying like this goth look. I have no idea why. Like a punk rock look. I don't know.
Everyone is trying a ghost look in
Just
his career, I
right.
guess.
I guess that's like phase 4 of like the pro wrestling
Yeah.
journey. Um, but there was a promoter, and a former podcast host, a Toronto-based guy named Big Daddy Donnie,
Hmm.
and he was one of my earlier supporters. Um, and he called me one day out of the blue because he started booking for this other promotion, and he actually had pitched tagging me with Crazy Steve, and he because he saw that I was trying like out these different looks and everything with makeup, and he said like I think if you do a tag with Crazy Steve, it'll help you break out a little bit, get you out of your shell. And I didn't like the idea at first, but he said, he was at the bar with some of his friends when he pitched this idea, and he came up with the name Psycho Mike, and it was like the stupid name and the silly name, but throughout the evening they kept chanting it, right?
Yeah, okay.
And it was like this fun thing to chant. So he called me and he convinced me to give it a try, and I liked like there's something about the name that that I appreciated, because when when you tell somebody that you're like, when you meet a normal person or a friend of a friend and they
Mhm.
find out you're a wrestler, there's always like three questions that they'll ask. Like the first one is like, have you ever been hit in the head with a chair? Uh, the second question is some form of like, how do they find out who wins, or is it real?
Mhm.
But the third one is some kind of question like, so what do they call you? And that's usually a loaded question. Like, do they call you something like the Terminator, or and there's
Ah,
like a
okay.
very, yeah, there's a very
The gimmick question.
like
That's
1980s style
yeah.
of like a pro wrestler that people have in their head.
Mhm.
And I just kind of like the idea of answering that question with a really stupid name, like Psycho Mike. Like I'm not even like everyone else is trying to like, my name is like Tucker Smith, like a
Mhm.
real
Mhm.
cool name, or I don't know. That's not. I guess that's whatever. That's like an NXT name, I guess. But she's like, no, Psycho Mike, and it's just embracing and celebrating like that idea of pro wrestling that
Mhm.
most of us grew up watching. And pro wrestling culture is kind of maybe less so now, but there was a period there where we really shied away from, almost like we were embarrassed of that era of wrestling.
Mhm.
And instead I figured, well, everyone else is trying to be, real or tough, and like I'm an MMA guy, or
Yeah, yeah. I know what
like
you
I'm a
mean.
boxing guy. Yeah, and I don't mean to put that in a corner, or like I'm not like criticizing that at all. It's just everybody was doing it. It was a competitive market,
Mhm.
and I just figured, why not lean on something that's coming more natural to me, that I actually like and appreciate, and that nobody else is doing. Um,
And you are now
and it was,
more special with this name.
yeah, like it's like nobody gave a crap about Mike Rollins, right? It's just like a regular name.
Mhm.
And I ended up dropping it once Seth Rollins debuted
Yeah. Okay.
uh,
Mhm.
back in FCW, and then I was like, Psycho Mike is like, that's how I'm being called anyways. That's what they're chanting, and it's just like that's just the name. It doesn't have to make sense. It's just a wrestling name,
Yeah, and to
for
find
for
a
better
name
or
that the
worse.
people
Yeah,
would like to chant, that's the greatest way.
yeah. And so like really, it's kind of evolved over time, but like the crux of the act is like, if you don't know who I am and you see me do my entrance, you're going to see a pro wrestler, somebody who looks like a pro wrestler
Mhm.
in pro wrestling trunks, pro wrestling boots, and you think, oh, here's a pro wrestler, right?
Yeah.
And then you see me wrestle, and you're like, I did not expect that.
Of
And
course.
so
Of
there's
course.
this weird thing where like I've often encountered this in my career, where people would never understand stood they never really understood why, um I guess I would do this to myself, where it's like, not everybody, mind you, but I would very often hear like, oh, you should be more serious, or like, why are you doing this, like it's like holding you back, and all this. And what would inevitably happen is I wouldn't listen. I'd continue doing my act and performing the way I perform. It would get over, and then those same people would say, okay, now I understand it. Like, now I know why you do this.
Ah, okay.
Because yeah, because like if I just came out, so imagine back in Carrot last year,
Mhm.
right? Um, if I came out and acted like a pro wrestler and wrestled like a pro wrestler, I don't think anybody would have remembered who I was.
It could be possible. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I don't know, like if you were to go back and watch that, when I came out, it wasn't to roaring applause.
Mhm.
Like I got a polite reception, a respectful one. Um, and then I started wrestling, and then I slowly introduced my act, and there was like this moment where I feel like it just clicked, and it's like, oh, he's not who we thought he was.
Mhm.
And it's almost like a shortcut or cheat code, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah, yeah.
um like I don't have an expectation to live up to. Like, if you have an expectation, I'm not even going to try to live up to it. I'm just going to go down a completely different path,
Mhm.
and uh like, I guess, subvert your expectations that way. You know, I
That's
guess
really
that's
cool.
always been my analytical approach to it. As silly as everything seems on the surface, there's a lot of thought
Mhm.
I put into it. Um, which then means I don't think it's fair to say that I don't take it seriously because I take it very seriously.
Yes, you take your
Yeah,
act really serious, and that's a
yeah.
really you take this special act serious, and then you stay in the minds of your viewers because like I said before, after last year's 60 Card Gold, everyone was saying we want to see Psycho Mike back because he was such a special character, and now we have our goal, and you will be back at the weekend. That's really cool.
Mm. Yeah, that was like the most um I don't know what the word is, magical.
Hmm.
Uh like it was definitely that day meant a lot to me.
Hmm.
I can't even put it into words.
Yeah, I can
Uh
understand this. It's
yeah, it
sometimes
was
feelings can't be put into words.
yeah. And to like put that in context a bit, that would have like I think that was my first time performing in like since the beginning of pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Because shows, I would have may have done the odd show here and there. Like
Mm-hmm.
Canada was pretty bad during all of it. Like live events weren't running,
Ah, okay.
and for the brief periods that they were, it was very fleeting. So we'd get like a month, and then lockdown would start again.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so that was really my big motivation to, it was like, okay, I got to go somewhere else to
Mm-hmm.
wrestle. So that was the big motivator for me. And it was like I was so nervous because one, I hadn't wrestled like in months at that point,
Mm-hmm.
like in front of a crowd, especially a crowd that big, and especially on a stage that was that like polished, like with that level of production.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was so nervous that the night before I didn't get any sleep. Literally,
Oh.
I laid in bed, laid at the hotel in bed for like just lied there for like 7 or 8 hours or whatever it was, and we get up and eat breakfast in the morning, and I'm just like I look like dog meat. Vertigo, Von
Mm-hmm.
Vertigo's there. We're eating together, and he just looks at me and he's like, "Man, you look like shit." And I just looked at him and I said, "Honestly, man, I'm sorry. I don't know how I'm gonna get through the day." And I was having a match with him in like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him. I'm like, "Dude, I'm probably gonna shit the bed today. I'm really sorry." Uh, but it worked out because the thing is like I wonder if I was well rested, if
Mm-hmm.
I would have fooled myself into doing something different. Like, oh, like I'm on the big stage now. I gotta wrestle differently or I gotta perform differently,
Yeah.
right? But I was so tired. I just said, like, look, man, I gotta do my greatest hits. Like, we gotta keep this one simple. Um, like in terms of structure, because like if it's something I haven't done before, I'm gonna screw it up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very lucky that like Vertigo's like a good friend, and he's like he trusts me, where we trust each other, but he definitely trusted me to put something together that was like competent and would show well without, I don't know, like taking too many risks.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember, uh, like I got my second wind probably like right before the music hit and everything, and I still wasn't feeling confident. And all of that changed when I grabbed him for that arm wringer and I looked right into the camera, and we started that spot, and it got a reaction. And that's when I relaxed and actually felt like confident, where it's like, okay, I got them. Like I just needed one hook
Yeah.
to land, and it happened early in the match where I could finally relax.
for,
And
for
like,
that
and that's
less
yeah.
sleep, you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I was very fortunate and probably very lucky, and I'm really glad that everything worked out. And once that was done, uh, like I got through the curtain in the back, and like my eyes were actually like tearing up. Um, like I couldn't have been happier with that.
That's great to hear. So not just we enjoyed the moment, you did too. That's great to hear.
Yeah, yeah, like definitely one of the like top moments, not even of my career, like of my life. Like I'll never forget that
That's
ever.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. Before we dive deeper into your time with WXW, I have one more question to your character. We have to go deep into your
Mm.
character, and you have to answer me, who is Zombie Mike?
So Zombie Mike is a Psycho Mike in an alternate universe,
Ah, okay.
and there's the story behind Zombie Mike. It's pretty ill defined, but I think the lore I'm going with. I mean, let me give you some like real world context for that.
Hmm.
There's a Toronto based promotion called Super Kicked,
Okay.
and since I'd say maybe for the last probably 10 years now, if not longer, they run they run an annual zombie wrestling event.
Ah, okay. Cool.
Yeah, like investing in the makeup and everything. And so I've done every single zombie wrestling show since the inception as Zombie Mike,
Hmm.
and the makeup and everything's become more and more elaborate. And like back in like 2020, I thought I thought it would be fun to run with that as more of like a full-time act or full-time character. Um, particularly like around, it's when wrestling shows are happening.
Hmm.
I guess it's much harder to like stand out and get noticed. So I thought it would be fun to do that as like this really, especially at the time when the acts that were taking off were like your Danhausens and your War Horses and things like
Hmm.
that, which was closer to like the previous iterations of Psycho Mike. But I thought like, okay, if I took that concept and cranked it up to like, not even 11, maybe like 15, um, to a level of like makeup and production that really couldn't be touched by anybody else,
Hmm.
and do a little project with that. I thought it was interesting. And then the concept that I came up with that we didn't really run with was that Psycho or Zombie Mike, the origin story is that Psycho Mike performed on a zombie wrestling show, had an allergic reaction to the zombie makeup, and unfortunately passes away, but then comes back as Zombie Mike. And the same, and I just thought it would be this weird, like dark humor around it, but I don't know, like this alternate universe or something. And
That's a
so
really
like I
nice one. I
yeah,
like it. I like
yeah,
it. Could be for a special show a really, really cool addition.
yeah. So I yeah, so we bust that out every once in a while. Or fortunately or unfortunately, depending on what lens you look at it through, the makeup artist
Mm.
for Zombie Mike, became it became very very successful, and started, her schedule picked up and everything. And
Ah,
I
okay.
don't know if you're familiar with the show the Boys. She's
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
the lead.
yeah. Of
Yeah,
course.
she's one of the lead makeup artists on that show with
Oh,
all the gore and everything, right? So yeah, she
that's a
got really
great step
busy.
up.
Yeah, I mean it's very good news. It's just I don't want to say it's unfortunate. It's just unfortunate that she's too busy for me now.
Yeah, yeah. I can understand this.
But yeah, she's awesome, awesome. But yeah, we wanted to do like a full like feature length uh, documentary about the character while wrestling
Cool.
shows weren't happening, and we got a few episodes of that out.
Mm.
Um, maybe I'll pick that up again in the future, but it's fun. It's really fun, and I
That's a
like
really
if
funny one. Yeah.
yeah, they're all if you look up zombie wrestling or zombie Mike on YouTube, like everything is I'm pretty sure everything is uploaded.
I have to go
Um,
for it. I have
yeah,
to look at
it's all
it.
it's nonsense. It's silly. It's amazing.
But sometimes you need just that. Some nonsense, some really funny and silly things to
Yeah,
get your mind calm down and just enjoy.
yeah, I agree.
So let's talk about your time with WXW. You came to WXW to the 22nd 16 karat gold. How did the contact come in place to get you to WXW? Have there been contacts before, or was it just for this event?
That's a good question. I I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, uh, but I'm gonna give. So I don't know the specifics of the
Hmm.
conversations. Um, but
Let's
it
just
was it
have
was
an idea
Sebastian.
of
Yeah, it
it.
was yeah, it was Sebastian Suave was basically the hero that coordinated all of that for me, like nearly in its entirety. Um, and so Sebastian Suave, the promoter owner of Smash Wrestling,
Hmm.
and so he had and has a very very good relationship with uh, Felix and WXW,
Hmm.
and um, I actually don't know what those conversations were, but he'd asked me about it if it was something I was interested in, and of course I it's like yes, I'd be silly to say no to this, and he kind of just like took care of it for me. I'll be honest, like this wasn't like I got really really lucky, and I owe Sebastian um, all the thanks and credit in the world for doing this for me. Um, but
But I guess he wouldn't have done
yeah,
this for you if he didn't like you. So
yeah,
you have to
like
have
definitely likes me.
something,
Yeah, he
something
definitely
good in
likes
you.
me. But not only that, he trusted me to um like at to be respectful enough and show well, and really not like screw it up for him.
Mhm.
But like I don't know. That was one reason why I was also nervous because I didn't really pry and ask like, hey, what was the other side of the conversation like? He's just like, oh, nah, they've seen you, they like you, they want you to come down and everything. So like I'm flying over there, we're doing the 7 8 hour flight or whatever it is. In the
Mhm.
back of my head, I'm thinking, oh, what are the like? Where's the bar been set on this? Where are the expectations? Like I didn't know,
Yeah,
and
that's difficult if you don't know what they
yeah,
expect of you.
yeah, and like, it's not like I asked or reached out or anything. Like I was just kind of just going with the flow, and I don't know. There's a certain shyness or nervousness I had about it, but like I'm like thinking, like, do they know what I do? If I like, will they be upset if I like do certain things and all this? And so Sebastian's like talking me off the ledge the whole time, just like, dude, just do you, trust me, do you, like I trust you. Like if I didn't think if we nobody thought it was going to be a fit, like you wouldn't be there. And
Yes,
then I
of
found
course.
out I was gonna yeah, and I found out if I that I was opening the show, and I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know how this is gonna work because this is the first thing they're gonna see on the wrestling show, and uh, I was worried about the language dude. I was a mess. I was a mess about the whole thing. Um, I know that's not what you were originally asking, but
But you did a really
yeah,
good job, so no problem.
yeah,
So we talked about you had your first match with One Vertigo. You already explained a lot about
yeah,
it
yeah,
and before it. On the next day, you had another match, an 8-man tag team match. First question for
yes.
this: did you had more sleep in the night to this match?
Yes, I gotta let everyone in on a little secret here. Right after my match with Vertigo,
Hmm.
um, so the hotel is right next to the venue.
Yeah.
So between the two shows, because there was the evening carrot show,
Hmm.
uh, I slipped out and I just said I told Sebastian, I'm like, I don't want to be like disrespectful or rude, but like I've been up for probably like 36 hours at that point because it was also like an early morning flight and I didn't fall
Oh,
asleep.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's really,
So
really bad
yeah,
for
so
you.
yeah, to contextualize it more, I I always get nervous flying, so I didn't
Oh,
sleep. I pretty much didn't sleep at all the night before. Then we get on the plane. I can't fall asleep on the plane, and then we land, and then I can't fall asleep that night, and then I have the wrestling show. So it was yeah, a long time of not sleeping, and
yeah,
then I
yeah.
was finally relaxed. Yeah, so I slipped out and took a nap, came back a couple hours later, and then watched Carrot. And then I was able to sleep well that night.
Ah, that's good.
So
That's good.
I had nothing to be worried about.
Okay.
But I'm glad that that tag match happened the second day
Mm-hmm.
because I am absolutely dreadful at like multi-man matches.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not something I'm good at. So I'm very like reliant and dependent on other people in the match to help me coordinate everything. And um, if that was going to be my first match and my first, I guess, foray, my first exposure, it would have not gone well for me. I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, that one was fun because I didn't feel like okay, like I've already kind of established who I am and everything, so I don't have to um, do too much, right? I can pick my spots and like not have to worry that I'm not showing well or not doing enough or whatever it is. And when everyone feels that way, you can have a really good multi-man match because everybody's thinking more about the entire piece itself rather than their specific part.
Hmm.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
So
of course.
yeah,
So you prefer the singles match or take the match before the multi-man match?
I'm singles matches.
Singles
Tag
matches.
matches, I'm not great at either.
Okay.
Uh, and multi-man matches, it depends. It really depends.
Hmm.
Um, like triple threats, I'm not great at. Four ways, I'm better at, and then anything above four people, yeah.
Ah, okay,
I'm
okay.
like,
It's
yeah,
interesting,
uh,
interesting.
yeah.
How it
I need even.
changes.
Maybe I need even numbers. I
Yeah,
don't know,
perhaps, perhaps.
but
Could be possible.
no, I like that. I like that tag match a lot. Like everybody, we were all more or less, well, not more or less, we were all like on the same page,
Mm.
and everybody kind of, like everyone had their personality and their act, so it wasn't like, oh, we got to like hit cool moves and stuff like that. So it was really easy um, to fit everything together.
Yeah,
And it's always nice when the people you're working with have other ideas for other people as
yeah,
well.
yeah, of course.
And that one I remember because we did separate entrances. I remember that. So everyone's doing their separate entrances,
Mm.
and I didn't actually know what my entrance music was. So we're doing on our side, we're doing separate entrances, um, and then like some music hits, and there's a big cheer, and I look at Vertigo, and I'm like, is this my music? And he just looks at me, says, what the hell do you think? So I come out, and everybody's cheering, and
Ah, cool.
like like you can't really tell, but like I had like tears coming out of my eyes. I'm not even kidding. Like I couldn't believe it. And just after um like one show, and again, like it had been so long since I performed in front of such a large crowd, and like the whole thing with like me being insecure about everything, and I don't know, just that reception. It was,
Mm.
I can't even describe it, because like I was probably not in the best place uh, leading up to it.
But you did
Um,
a really good job.
yeah.
So we see that you did a good job because you came back in that year twice to WXW. You came back in the summer and you came
Hmm.
back in the November shows in Toronto and London again. So
Hmm.
it seems that you impressed not just the fans but the officials as well.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. It worked out.
Yeah, in summer
uh,
there was another kind of match because I can imagine most times you are the big guy inside the ring, and in summer you faced Heisenberg inside the ring, someone that's
yeah.
not a really small one. How is it to face such a giant inside the ring?
I actually like he was really easy and fun. And I don't want to say I was like surprised, but usually, um, bigger wrestlers are very protective of themselves,
Oh,
and
okay.
and so sometimes I do have, like, we run into that issue where it's, where it's whether or not they want to, I guess, put up with me, or
Hmm.
like blend it in with my style a bit more. So that was something I was being trying to be mindful of, and it's not that I want people to like look bad for me or anything like that, but he was very like his Heisenberg was like the one that was like, oh, maybe we can do this and this, and like he came up with a lot of the ideas for it, and um like, so yeah, he was like game to like play off the character and the body slam and everything. uh so I had a lot of fun with that one. And I actually like selling a lot, right? Like I
Ah,
like
okay.
bumping and yeah, and to the point where like people might even fault me for it, where there's times where like I'll have a match with somebody, and it's I'll ask somebody else like, hey, some feedback on that, and they're like, man, you were selling a lot, or it's like, you're a big guy, you don't need to bump that much, and it's like, yeah, but it's fun, like it's like I don't care, like it's not um like I'm like trying to like protect my aura or anything
Yeah.
like that. So when I have a match with a big somebody who's larger, I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm already well practiced at you
That's
know
very cool.
selling and everything, and so I can have more fun with it as well,
Hmm.
instead of I don't know, like instead of like I don't want to say like do the same thing every
Yeah.
time, but
Yeah.
yeah, like just a completely different approach, and
It's
it's refreshing,
isn't it?
especially when you get somebody that's so
Yeah.
easy to work with.
Isn't it getting boring if you do always do the same things? So your way is the much better
Right.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And it was like the same thing when I went with my match with Maggot, right?
Yeah.
Where there's a few things where
It
he's
was in Toronto,
oh
if I don't
yeah,
miss.
yeah, that one was in London,
Yeah, that was the London
London,
one.
Ontario. Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
Toronto one was after that we talk about a little bit later.
yeah, yeah. So like that's an example of one where like Maggot's a smaller guy than
Yeah.
me, um, like not even close, and it's like, okay, how fun would that match be if I'm just beating the crap out of him, eating him, if we did something like that? Like it wouldn't be fun. It's not
Mm-hmm.
interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so when it came up where it's like, are you okay if I give you a back body draw? And I was like, yeah, give me three. I don't care. Like it's fun. I'm not here to make harder for anybody. If you want to like shoot me off the rope or something, that's fine. No, I can't. I'm too big. It's like, well, is that's not even like the story of the match. That's not the like thing we're even trying to establish. So what's the point? Let's just have fun. Um, like nobody's gonna watch what I'm doing, and then point at something like that and say like, oh, that's unrealistic. This is all this other stuff I was okay with, but that way, that's a bridge too far. I can only suspend my disbelief so much.
Mm.
It's just whatever. Um, yeah, now I'm ranting, but
You have you
yeah.
have to be loved by your colleagues for this kind of thinking.
Well, I can be pretty picky with other things when it
Ah, okay.
comes to my like character and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, like, I'll take the move, no problem. But like I get picky about things. This might sound pretentious, but it's my character wouldn't do that. My character would do this,
Ah, okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I have my own difficulties that
Yes,
I,
that's totally okay.
so it's yeah. So like I guess my ideas or my mindset is in terms of a social contract. If I'm going to be difficult about certain things, I'm not going to be difficult about these other things that
Yeah,
don't matter to me,
that's really cool.
or that I don't feel as strongly about.
That's a
Yeah,
good kind of thinking. Protect the character, the act,
yeah,
and be open for other things. That's really good.
yeah, yeah. Because
I
that's
really
that's
like
that's
this.
actually what I feel strongly about, and that's what I
Yeah,
care about. Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, talking about characters, you had Maggot, and then in Toronto, you faced your what I would call him your nemesis, Charles Qualley. And you two will meet again at this year's WXW 60 Card Gold Weekend. What's happening between you and Charles Qualley?
Uh well, I've really messed him up with uh, body slams. And at our last match in Toronto, uh, like he was clearly hurting, clearly injured, and I didn't have it in me. I didn't think it would be appropriate or polite to continue putting him through that level of punishment. So
Hmm.
I decided to swear off the body slam for that match, and I committed to coming up with a safer alternative for my finishing move,
Hmm.
and that move was the burning hammer. And the burning hammer wasn't enough to put him away.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, I didn't know what else to do, but I really wanted to win the match, so I had to break my promise and my commitment, and I had to, yeah, I just nailed him with that body slam, and for the W. And so that's one win apiece. So we're gonna have the tiebreaker, the tiebreaker, um, carrot. and I don't know where we're gonna go from there, but um, I'm imagining he's still. I mean, he didn't recover from that first body slam. It took him 3 months to even
Ah,
wrestle again
okay.
for
Hmm.
Smash. So like this one's happening. Yeah, how much time he's had to recover by the time Carrot start? I don't know. We'll see. I think I have the advantage because of the lingering effects. But it's
So
yeah, it's gonna be nonsense. It's probably the word. Yeah, if I'm gonna set an expectation, um, yeah,
it's just the collision of two great characters inside the ring, two great acts inside the ring.
yeah. I thought it'd be. I joked with him that we should just do like 3 rounds of 5 minutes, just like pure technical wrestling.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
you
time
can
limit
go
draw.
to Ring of
Yeah,
Honor for the pure title, both of you.
just like yeah, I can really. I don't know. I thought that would be funny.
That could be
Uh,
really funny. Yes, of
yeah,
course.
we'll see. I think it'd be hilarious, but I'm also a sociopath, so.
Uh, so, if you look forward to Code, what would you like to do to Charles Crawley?
um, other than a body slam, or
Everything that you want to. Now we can have some fantasy.
well, maybe try like a different variation. Yeah, maybe I can get creative.
Ah,
Like
okay.
like maybe what I'll do is I'll carry him to the top rope and I'll
Hmm.
body slam him from the top rope
Oh,
uh, to the floor.
outside the ring or
Yeah, yeah.
oh, a
But that might
super
be too dangerous. That might be too dangerous. So
super special body slam.
maybe I put a table there to like help break his
Oh yeah,
fall a
yeah.
little bit,
That's a good idea.
and
That's a
then
good
and
idea.
then and then I'll have some steel chairs nearby that he can sit on after,
Good idea as
like
well. Yeah.
right underneath the table. So after he takes the punishment, he can he has chairs nearby uh, to recover,
Ah,
to sit
okay.
down and recover on.
He don't
Um,
has to lay down on the ground, so
yeah,
there are some chairs that give him a better fit.
yeah, maybe something like that.
That sounds like a really
And then maybe
interesting way.
and then maybe set him on fire.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I will choose a place that's not that close to the ring, I guess,
Yes,
on this
yes.
day.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope Charles doesn't hear this before the match and doesn't travel to
Oh yeah,
Germany.
that's right. Ah, man, I might have to. Yeah,
But
maybe I'll have to. Yeah, if he hears it, I'll just maybe that's I'll have to change my plan.
yeah, perhaps.
So if I don't do any of that, that would be why. It's a
Yeah,
strategic thing.
yeah.
Um,
Do
yeah,
something he doesn't think about.
yeah, yeah.
Ah, that's really cool. I guess a lot of our watchers and listeners are looking forward to 16 Carat and seeing you back at the special shows that we have there. Before we finish our podcast, how can we support you? Beside of watching your matches at every show, what can we do for you? Is there any merch? Can we give you some support on social media? What would help you? What would help Psycho Mike?
uh, honestly, I don't think I can ask for any more. I feel like supported immensely from the WWX crew and fans. I will have brand new T-shirts
Ah, cool.
for that I'm getting especially for this trip. Um, so I'll be bringing those over. So yeah, I guess yeah.
That's really cool.
If you want a new shirt, like that's a very easy way to support if you're there. Um, hopefully everybody likes them. Other than that, I on social media, the only thing I still have that I look at is Twitter under I am Psycho Mike.
Mm.
If there's any I guess the only thing I'd ask if there's any content of mine that you see or enjoy, just tell your friends, family, tweet it out, share it, whatever. Um, it means the world to me when I see people enjoying the stuff that I do, because quite frankly, at this point, that's the only reason why I'm doing it.
That's
It's
cool.
it's what keeps me going. It makes me feel good. I respond well to like that positive reinforcement. I promise it's not an ego thing. Uh, it makes me feel really, really good.
Mm.
Yeah, so if you find anything searching out the zombie mic or psycho mic and you enjoy it, just tell people, let everybody you know enjoy it.
Yes, of
Let
course.
everybody know that you enjoy it, and then maybe try to get them to enjoy it too. Uh, and maybe I don't know, bug local promoters to see if there's any interest.
Yes, we need more Psycho
If
Mike in
yeah,
Germany and in Europe, of course.
yeah,
We
as
just
I
need
love,
it.
yeah, I love coming down.
Yeah.
So any
And
reason, yeah,
and from my point of view, I can say to everyone who's listening or watching, with Psycho Mike, you have a really nice contact that answers to your questions. We have some contact for a longer time. Last time that we would like to record, I got ill, so we couldn't record it. But now he took the time to come back and to talk to me in front before the WXW show. So thank you that you
no,
have been here.
thank you so much, and thanks for reaching out.
Yes, of course. And I would like to do it again if you have something more that you would like to talk about. Perhaps we'll see us again and hear us again.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you
Take
to
care.
all our listeners and watchers. And yes, we hope to see you at WXW 16 Karat Gold.